welcome to Williams High School and welcome to biology. My name is Mr. Mahmoud and I am excited to start this journey with you guys. Hopefully we're going to learn a lot over the course of the year from each other. I do a lot of things differently in this classroom, and what better way to explain that to you than by doing my syllabus a little differently as well. So today I'm not here to talk to you about rules and guidelines and all that stuff. You'll figure that out later. Today I'm really here to just walk you through the culture of my classroom and my expectations for you. As you're going to learn, my emphasis on everything that I do is to try to set up an environment that encourages you to take risks and to challenge yourself. If there's anything I value in this classroom, it's effort. I value effort more than anything you could possibly consider. I mean, yeah, some people have kind of a natural ability in science and they just tend to pick things up easily and they tend to succeed on tests and quizzes and memorize things better, and that's all fine, but that doesn't make a good scientist. And I want to make it clear that anybody can be successful in my classroom, and I should say everybody will be successful in my classroom, because what I value is effort. As long as you're ready to try, as long as you're ready to put some energy in my class, I'm ready to work with you and we will be successful together. So if you can see, I don't even know if you can see it up in the corner there, but I value effort in this classroom so much to the point that I have this poster that I'll be referring to almost every day. So this is my effort chart, and I kind of base this off of a pain tolerance chart from hospitals. So if you've ever been in a hospital, you've kind of seen these pictures before, but you'll notice that it doesn't just go from being really happy in the beginning to really sad at the end. If you look, the happiest face is right there in the middle. So at any given day, my goal for you is to find yourself somewhere in the middle of this effort chart. My goal is to keep you in 3. That's why you see this little mantra at the bottom, we live in 3. If you ever see me reply to an email, I'll always have that we live in 3 at the bottom. That's kind of our goal here in this classroom. If you are ever sitting at 3, then you're doing your job. You're a little bit uncomfortable, you feel challenged, and you're going to have to put some energy in, but at the same time you never feel overwhelmed, you never feel like whatever I'm asking you to do is way out of your range. So my job as a teacher is to keep you away from 1 or 5. If you're ever at 1 or 5, I'm not doing my job, because either I'm giving you busy work and it's just stuff that's way too easy for you and I'm just wasting your time if you're sitting at a 1, or I'm asking you to do something that you honestly don't think you're capable of doing and you don't even know how to get to what I'm asking you to do. That's a 5. I don't ever want you in any of those spots. So if you ever feel like you're in either one of those spots, be ready, because I'm going to be right there with you, and we're going to figure out a way to either get that stress level and that energy level up or down to get you back at 3. So that's my promise to you, and we'll walk through how I get you there. But what I need from you, and what I need you to promise me, is that you're never just going to jump from 1 to 5 on this effort chart. It's really easy to have this mentality that I either am going to do something really easily the first time, or if it's too hard, I'm just never going to try it, or I'm not going to put the energy I need to put into it in order to be successful. So if it's not something that I can do right away, it's something that I just could never do and I'm not even going to try. So there's no way that we can be successful if you jump from 1 to 5, if you have that mentality. So all I need from you is the willingness to just put a little effort in, and I need you to trust in the classroom environment and in me to help you get where you need to go. And I know that trust is something that we're going to have to work on, and it's usually something you don't give away, right, from the first time you meet somebody. We'll build it together, and I really hope from day one that our relationships and our interactions with each other kind of help us move in that direction, right? So how do we get this environment where I can actually encourage you to take risks? Because I get it. I get that it's stressful and it's intimidating and it's high school and there's all kinds of things that are going to get in your way, and you may not be likely to want to challenge yourself too much or take too many risks, right? So how can I get you there? So to give you an example of how I want to set this up, I'm going to show you this video. This is me. I know you see me twice. It's crazy. This is me. I won't say anything else about it. I'm just going to go ahead and play it.
Go.
50, 60.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. I want to warn you guys, this does not end well, okay? Any of my gymnastics experts in here, and I know I have at least a few of you guys, looking at my form, I think you can tell that I have absolutely no gymnastics ability whatsoever, right? So what could possibly convince me to try to do something like this, knowing that my risk of failure is incredibly high? Let's watch it again, this time all the way through.
Go.
40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90.
There's a foam pit. See, I knew that even though the risk of me failing was high, the risk of me having sort of long-term damage was relatively low. So I was willing to take on this challenge. So as an educator, our job is to constantly challenge you, to constantly try to put obstacles in front of you and then work with you so you can learn how to overcome them, right? And so if we keep asking you to do these kinds of jumps, right? We're asking you to take on these kinds of challenges. We have to make sure that we're providing this kind of a foam pit environment for you so that you feel safe in taking the risk. I mean, think about it. If someone asked me to do that same kind of jump on solid ground, do you think I'd do it? Absolutely not, right? I'm a science teacher. I get the physics connected to my head slamming into the floor, right? So there's no way I would do that if someone asked me to. So if they asked me to do that jump and I said no, do you think they'd call me lazy? No, of course not. So it's unfortunate that some teachers kind of see kids that way and see, okay, I'm going to give you a challenge that is very likely for you to be unsuccessful in, and it's a very risky situation where you don't feel like you have any real chance of recovering or getting out of that situation. It's no surprise that you would often say no, and you would often maybe not try or give up or not put enough energy into it, kind of expecting that you're not going to be successful and you don't want to take the risk. So that's what this classroom is all about. Everything about our scenario is giving you the opportunity to challenge yourself and hopefully letting you learn to trust this system and all of the levels of safety that's provided to let you jump in a safe environment where we'll recover, we'll work together, and you'll always be able to pick back up. I mean, think about it. Why do they have these foam pits in the first place? Anybody that's ever been in a gymnastics facility, right? Why are there foam pits? Is there some sort of Olympic foam pit event? No, of course not, right? So it's there so that people can try challenging jumps that are things that they have very little confidence in a safe place where they know that regardless of how poorly they perform it, they can recover, they can get better, and their coaches can be there to critique them along the way, right? And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to be your coach. I'm here to help you along the line. All I need from you is to take on that challenge and jump a little bit. And so let's walk through how I set up these little safeties across the way, right? So you see the things I value are all around the room and kind of all in the hallway as well. I'm all about helping you recognize that success doesn't come easily, and success isn't something that you just happen to fall into. You become successful because of your willingness to challenge yourself, to always put yourself in that little uncomfortable situation and learn from it, and use failure as an opportunity to learn, use failure as an opportunity to recover. So failure is perfectly okay in my class, but long-term failure, like the 9-week grading period, that's something that's not so great, right? Obviously. So we're going to work together to help you get where you need to go with small failures along the way. If you challenge yourselves and you take risks, you're going to fail at things, and that's perfectly okay. I want us to learn that together if you haven't learned that already. It's okay to fail, it's okay to struggle, it's okay to not be immediately successful at something, but the fact that you're trying is all I care about. And as long as you're putting that energy in, we'll constantly be there to work with each other. You'll be there to work with your peers. You're going to collaborate a lot and helping each other together to reach the goals that we want to eventually reach. Some of us will get there faster than others, but it's perfectly okay. However long it takes you, as long as you get there, we're in good shape, right? So take risks, challenge yourself. You'll see these posters all over the place. It's a big thing of mine. You're going to watch a mindset video on this in a couple of days as well, and it's really important that we kind of set the tone early, that as long as you try, we're in good shape. So there's a lot of things that are different about this class in the sense of setting up that safety. Another big factor of this classroom is that I'm going to try to get away from talking in class as much as possible. So like this video where you're just listening to me talk, this is a very rare event. Any of you guys that have brothers or sisters or friends that have gone through this class, they'll tell you in the last few years, I rarely talk. Most of the class time, almost every single day, is all about you guys sitting down, recognizing what you need to do, and just getting to work. So the reason I can do that is because I can take a lot of the content that you're supposed to be getting from me and ask you to do it at home. So I run something called a flipped classroom, and it's flipped in the sense that the traditional classroom has the teacher as the center of the room, kind of the focus of the room, and the teacher presents a lot of information using up most of class time, and then they assign you homework, and that homework is some sort of activity or something where you're applying the information. You do that at home, then you come back the next day and you repeat the pattern, right? That's kind of the traditional teaching model. I flip everything. So I give you the content at home. So I make these videos online, and I post them online, and I send you links, and we'll walk through how to get there, and you watch those videos at home. so that when you come to class, you're ready to do the things that would normally be homework, like the activities and the labs and all the applications. You do that here in class. And now you have the opportunity to build and gain on your knowledge that you got from the videos in the classroom with your peers, with me available to help you out, and we can build on that together. And now the focus of the classroom is on you guys. I don't spend time in the class talking. It's on you. You get most of the class time to really do whatever it is you need to do to help build yourself. So it's a cool model, and it's might be a little difficult at first and a little hard to get used to, but I promise you, once you get set into the rhythm of everything, it all runs so smoothly, and I think you're going to see that there are major benefits from this situation. But again, it takes effort on your part. You're going to have to commit to taking care of these things at home. Now, I'm going to always give you kind of a minimum timeline to take care of any given lecture. My lectures run anywhere from like 30 to 45 minutes, but I only assign maybe 1 or 2 lectures a week. So I usually give you at least 3 nights to watch any given lecture. So if you're the kind of person that sees 30 or 45 minutes as way too long to stay focused on something, split it up. 10, 15 minutes a night, just watch a little bit, take some notes, and then move on, do something else, and come back the next day and do the same thing. Or if you're someone that can commit to something like that and just knock it out, then knock it out 1 night a week. But I'm not going to take up too much of your time. My goal is only to commit about 10 or 15 minutes on average a night for you to take care of whatever it is you need to do for me, which is pretty much the expectation, I think, on any of your classrooms here in high school, right? So if you can commit to that, I promise you we're going to be in great shape, and we're going to stay consistent throughout the year, right? To get to the videos, let's talk about how to do that. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how to get to the videos. You may want to write this down or at least just remember it so that you kind of know what you're doing later. So this is my desktop. No judging, right? I know I have a lot of icons. I get it. But I'm going to take you to my desktop here, and we're going to go through this together. So I'm going to use Chrome. You can use whatever internet browser you like, right? And I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to type in the website to get to my Google site. So the Google site is tinyurl.com /MAHMOUD, that's my name, BIO, Mahmoud Bio, just like that, right? I'm going to click on it, and it takes me to the website. Once you get to any sort of a Google site, you have to log in with your information. I've already set it up so that you have access to the page through your student login. So your student login should be first name dot last name .1 for most of you at mypisd.net. And then you set up your password based on whatever it is you've established as your password, right? So you log in. I'm going to log in as myself here. And it should be able to take you straight to the site, right? So here is the on-level biology class. So those of you guys in my on-level classes, this is what you're going to see. My honors classes, the website, the URL is right here. It's just a little bit different. So you just go to the same website, you type it in, and you'll get to the same thing, right? So once you get to the site, you can see you have kind of a list of tabs here. The front page gives you some basic information about me, basic contact info, a little picture that I had set up. I hope you guys like that one. How to access the online textbook, which is important, how to get to my Remind account. All that's good stuff. But then if you want to watch any given lecture, you just go to the 9 weeks that it's associated with, and you go to the little subunits along the way. So for example, this syllabus that you're watching here and the first lecture that I'm going to have assigned to you in terms of what's called mindset, both of those are found right here. So the actual link for the syllabus is always there, or the link for the lecture, or whatever it is you're watching is first. And then there's a little quiz associated with every lecture. This is how you're going to get credit for watching a lecture. Once you finish watching a lecture, you take a 5-question quiz associated with it. Most of the quizzes are extremely easy, very straightforward, just asking you basic questions that are straight from the lecture. As long as you're paying attention, as long as you're taking basic notes, you can make 100 on every single quiz, right? And so it's a Google form. Let me show you. So let's say we're going to take the quiz for this lecture that you're watching. It looks just like this. So you type in your first name, you type in your last name, you choose your class period, and then here are the 5 questions. You choose your answers for each one, and then down here you click submit. Once you click submit, it comes to me, everything's set, and I give you credit for the lecture. So any given lecture you can make obviously up to 100, 20 points apiece for 5 questions. If you miss one, you make an 80. If you miss 2, you make a 60, and so on, right? The way we work in this classroom is recovery is the goal. And again, it's all about that foam pit. If you take the quiz and you make a 20, it's okay. You can take it again. So you can take a quiz as many times as you want, once a day, but you can take it as many times as you want until you hit that 100, as long as you do it by the due date. So anytime a lecture has a due date, it's usually at least 3 days ahead, You can take the quiz early and you can see the grade and you can keep trying until you get the 100. If after the due date you keep trying, the best you can make after that is an 80. 80 is still not bad, but I want to make sure that you're trying to follow the basic timeline so that you're taking care of the lectures in the time I need. So there's a little bit of a consequence if you don't make it by the actual due date. But you can keep taking it again as many times as you want, and you'll be able to get up to an 80 anytime after that, right? So you actually go to the Google site here, watch the lecture. It'll take you to a YouTube link usually, and then you take the quiz associated with it after, right? Some people like to pull up the quiz while they're watching the lecture. That's perfectly fine with me. If that works for you, no problem. You do what works for you. So that's how you access the Google site. That's how you watch the lectures and how you take the quizzes, right? So again, it's unique, it's different, but this is how I get away from talking to you guys all the time and you having the feeling that you just sit down to a room that's not very well lit and you just have to sit there and listen and you don't get the chance to do anything. It's what I think is way too boring, not engaging at all, and doesn't encourage any effort on your part. So we shift that so that all the energy is now on you, right? So in relation to grading and how the unit runs, as you can imagine, it runs a little uniquely because of this as well. So the beauty of this system is that you have control over how quickly you run through content. We all have to take a test on the same day, so no matter what the unit is that we're working on, we're all going to take that unit test on the same day as any of the other classes and all of your friends that are in the other classes. But the way to get there is unique. So if you look here, this is on the side is what we call a task list. You'll get a task list with every single unit right at the beginning of the unit. It's a quick breakdown of the different things that you're going to be expected to master over the course of that unit, and there's a pace, which is sort of like an expected timeline. Now, whether you follow that exact timeline is totally up to you. For some people, they can roll through these things very quickly, or you may realize that you're rolling through one unit very quickly, where another unit might be a little more challenging and take a little more time. When you finish an assignment, having the paper done means very little to me. It's important you understand that. Some people like to just wait for the friends to do something and then just copy the paper and then turn it in, or they'll copy it in the class before it's due and then turn it in. Copying does not happen in my classroom because having a paper done does not give you the grade. When you're ready to show me that you understand something or that you've mastered something, then you show me that completed paper, but then we have a one-on-one discussion. I'll sit and ask you some specific questions. I'll ask you to explain things. Why is this activity important? What did you learn from this activity? And that's what I'm expecting to hear from you, to give you credit for the content. If you understand it and you show me you understand it, I check off the box that's called mastery and I write my initials down there for you. If you haven't shown me you understand something yet, I'm going to ask you to go back and keep working on it. Or I might work with you individually one-on-one and help you figure out where, we'll figure out together where your obstacles are to achieve mastery for that particular thing. Once you've mastered something, then you move on to the next thing. So in my classroom, on any given day, I can have kids working on 3 or 4 different things at once, all because they're at different points in the same unit, and that's perfectly okay. And we'll see there's some exceptions along the way. We'll talk about labs and things where we all have to come back together even if you're maybe on a different pace, right? But because the lectures are online, you can watch a lecture without having to wait for me to cover something in class, have the content you need, and then jump on to the next activity. But the lectures are critical. You have to make sure you take care of the lectures within that time frame, or else everything you're doing in class is going to be much more challenging, right? So to keep you in 3, keep you at that mid-level in effort, you need to have the background that I give you so that you can use it in the class, right? And when you are doing any of this work, it's all related to your targets, which is the student learning guide, this thing here that I'm going to show you. So I'm going to send this to you with every unit, and it's going to be on the back of your task list so that you're always going to be aware of kind of the basic things you need to make sure you understand over the course of a unit so that by the time the test comes around, you're ready to take it. And so I always ask you to kind of reference back to this so you can check and see, now I've finished this activity. It's supposed to help me understand this particular target. So it's a good way for you to always check and see how well you really understand that target. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm going to be asking you to explain to me to give you credit. So it all is based around this idea of mastery, and it's a very flexible timeline. If you don't get something the first time, or if it's not at the exact due date or when everyone else is finishing up, that's perfectly okay. Some of us take longer to figure things out. I don't care how long it takes you, as long as it's within the unit and as long as you show me you understand it. We'll work it out. We'll work together, and we'll develop that relationship and trust to make sure that however we get there, we will reach mastery on every given concept, every given target, every given unit, together, and you're going to be ready for the test as long as you're willing to work, right? And then let's say when you take the test, maybe you didn't quite do as well as you would have hoped, even though you thought you were ready. There's always a chance for recovery for the test too. So when you take a test afterwards, we'll do an analysis of the test where we break down exactly how many questions related to each of those targets that we talked about before for the unit. So maybe you made a 50 on the test, but really you mastered target 1 and 3, but maybe it was 2 and 4 that was really challenging for you. So by doing something like that, it takes away from this idea of, oh, I just failed the test, to the idea of, I know now where I need to work. And so once you recognize where your weaknesses are, that's where I ask you to go back, review your lectures, review your lecture notes, review your activities, come see me for tutorials, and let's figure out how to build your mastery level. And once you think you're ready to get your recovery, you can come back and talk to me about the test. And I'll give you the chance to discuss any target you want that you missed at least one question on. And for every target you missed, if you show me mastery by you being able to describe it to me and explain it to me, then I'll give you up to half of the points back for each target that you miss. So let's say you missed 2 questions on target 1, and the questions are 3 points apiece. So that means out of the whole test, 6 of the points you lost were from target 1. If you come in and explain target 1 to me, I'll give you 3 of those points back. So that means if you made a 50 on the test overall, you have the potential to turn that 50 up to a 75. And anybody can do it. If you missed any questions at all, you can come in and get points back because I value effort. If you want to show the effort, I'll give you credit and I'll incentivize that credit for you. So even if you made a 97 on the test, you just missed one question, and you want to come in and explain that target to me and show me you really understand it, I will give you 1.5 points back, and I'll even round it up. So I'll bump a 97 up to a 99 for you if that's what you want to do. So it's not just the kids that fail the test. Anybody can come in and recover points because it's all about showing me that you have a better understanding of something than maybe the paper or the test showed that you had, right? It's all about effort. Come in, work, and we'll get there together. So that's about it, guys. I'm here to work with you. We will be successful together, and I'm really excited to see how we get there. So thank you guys very much. Here's some basic information for the parents, and I will see you next time.